Thanks for watching this Tuesday night. I'm David Allen. We start tonight with the city leaders in Virginia Beach mapping out the future. Today we got a look at the latest capital improvement budget. Here's a look at how more than $3 billion will be split over the next 5 years. The biggest chunks going to roads, stormwater projects, and schools. Robert Boyd has a closer look.
Well, Mayor Bobby Dyer said one of his biggest goals and promises during his campaign was to bring the city council and the school board together, and that's exactly what happened earlier this afternoon in a meeting.
We have to come together and come up with realistic priorities and figure out how we're going to execute that. Best way to do it is to collaborate, to communicate, to get together with the school board.
The Virginia Beach capital improvements budget consists of $3.2 billion in spending between 2019 and 2024. 49% of it will go toward 3 areas: roads, stormwater, and schools.
Well, think about economic development. What company is going to want to come down here if we have so many recurrent flooding problems that really diminish the quality of life? Companies want to come where they have good schools.
Some of the more notable projects include Princess Anne Plaza drainage and Eastern Shore Drive drainage, as well as Laskin Road bridge replacement. As for the school district, they have pinpointed 15 schools that will soon need to be replaced. But the superintendent says their $40 million annual budget won't cut it.
Well, the reality is at $40 million, we're building about a school every other year, which means our schools are now going to be on about 160, 170 year life cycle, and that's just not sustainable.
Dr. Aaron Spence says they could use some help from our delegates in Richmond.
And we certainly believe that the state has a part to play in that, given its constitutional obligation to provide for the education of students in Virginia.
While the mayor is optimistic more capital improvements will be accomplished as the city continues to add to its revenue stream.
So we got to find new ways to raise money. We got to bring businesses in to find that new income so we're not so dependent on residential property taxes.
In Virginia Beach, Robert Boyd, 13 News Now.
Let's take another look at how the money would be split up. Economic and tourism development gets more than $200 million. Buildings and sewers also get between 9 and 11% of the funds. 32 days into the shutdown and neither side is budging. Thursday, the Senate will vote on 2 bills to reopen the government. Neither bill is expected to gain enough votes to pass. Meanwhile, Senator Mark Warner introduced a new bill to end future government shutdowns. He calls it the Stop Stupidity Act. Senator Warner says stupidity stands for shutdowns, transferring unnecessary pain and inflicting damage in the coming years. Under the bill, if there's a lapse in government funding, agencies would get automatic funding at the same level of the previous year. Only Congress and the White House would work without pay. Spokesman from the Republican National Committee sent a statement saying if Senator Warner had put half as much time into actually negotiating as he did coming up with that acronym, federal workers would have never missed a paycheck. A real estate office in Chesapeake is home to a pretty big donation drive for families affected by the shutdown. You just need to show a valid ID. Megan Puryear went to check it out and found the piles of donations keep going up at Vertical Real Estate.
You walk down the aisle filling your basket, grabbing chips, reaching for cans, and snagging some bread. But you wonder, will it be enough this week?
So we have everything that would help our families go through the next, we don't know how long.
Catalina Hernandez works at Vertical Real Estate in Chesapeake. They've partnered with local groups to make this room happen.
Being part of the Coast Guard spouses, the Coast Guard families, and be able to help at the same time just makes my heart bigger.
Each Saturday during the shutdown, families can come to the storeroom to get what they need. And Hernandez says between the sea of peanut butter and jelly, she sees young faces shopping.
We have a lot of families with more than 2 kids. We saw families with 4 to 5 kids coming in.
But Hernandez can relate to the stress of having extra mouths to feed.
Put some other stuff here.
Her family is a Coast Guard family too.
You find the gravy.
Hernandez says she's proud to be a Coast Guard family.
So my husband is active duty Coast Guard. Thank God we have my income to make us go by, but if it wasn't for that, of course we will be in not a very comfortable situation.
The room is stuffed right now, but the need is great.
They have to put their lives in the line for us and still not get paid, but they love, this is what they're doing this. They love our country, they love our community, and they will do it no matter what.
Each Saturday, the multicolored cans will disappear and the towers of diapers will tumble down into baskets. That's why Hernandez says they need donations to keep the storeroom going.
We are in desperate need of more laundry detergent, baby soap, diaper size 5 and 6. Formula is always needed. It's very expensive. It's something that goes really fast.
And if you'd like to volunteer or come pick up some items, swing by on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Chesapeake, I'm Megan Purrier, 13 News Now.
During the shutdown, we've seen a lot of good people out there stepping up to help those who don't know how they'll pay the rent or put food on the table. There's a barbershop in Newport News lending a hand. Mac and Tony Lee want to give free haircuts to furloughed workers as long as the shutdown lasts. Why do they want to do this?
We watch the news and see how this government shutdown is affecting families, and we just want to reach out.
Mac Lee owns 2 barbershops in Newport News, one in Denby and the other on 27th Street. He's inviting people to come by to any location on Tuesdays to get a free haircut between 9 and 2 o'clock. There's a fight developing over the tolls at the downtown and midtown tunnels. A group of mayors and transportation leaders are pushing lawmakers to end the deal allowing those tolls. What do you think about those tolls? Go to 13newsnow.com/vote or open up the 13 News Now app to let us know. Well, the mayors of Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Hampton are on an 8-person committee researching to see if the General Assembly can change the toll agreement with Elizabeth River crossings.
Those tolls will continue to increase over time. I think the concern is, what impact will that have?
The Hampton Roads Transportation and Planning Organization believes ERC could get even more money on top of tolls when projects like the high-rise bridge and HRBT expansion are complete. ERC says it will wait to see if board members come up with an alternative. An Old Dominion University study showed that Portsmouth lost $8.8 million each year because of the tolls. Data showed restaurant revenue was on the rise before the tolls started in 2014, but revenue dropped for 2 straight years afterwards. It also showed the average commuter in and out of Portsmouth pays more than $1,000 in tolls every year. And we asked you in a live poll, how do you think the tolls impact you? 40% of you said the tolls are killing your budget. Thanks to everyone who voted. In Richmond, dog tethering is a big topic again in the General Assembly. After years of defeat, opponents are again trying to limit tethering. State legislators are considering dueling bills, arguing over whether a long tether is better than penning a dog. Reporter Heather Sullivan has the latest.
His body condition is pretty low. I don't know, I'd say like a 3.
Animal protection advocates have shown you the images. Dogs tied or on chains outside, left in the cold or heat. It's an issue that resonates with many dog lovers.
All animals, when it's this temperature or when it's severely hot, need to be taken care of.
Last year, Senator Spruill's bill to limit tethering in harsh weather passed the Senate but was left in a House committee. Now he's back, working to ban tethering in temperatures below freezing or above 85.
When it's a cold day like today, so we'll say tethering the chain, a cold day like today, let's say the water bowl, it's gonna be frozen with ice. So if you leave them outside like this, that animal can die.
But Delegate Bobby Orrick, who with hunting groups says a ban is not needed because laws already ban animal neglect.
Through all these past years, when we've seen pictures of these poor animals died on a chain, the actions that led to that death were already illegal. I have never understood why putting temperature parameters that frankly make it more difficult for animal control to enforce.
Instead, his bill just passed the House, requiring longer and lighter tethers and giving animal control more leeway to intervene.
Right now, animal control cannot intervene in weather events, heat or cold, unless they see the animal actual suffering. What my bill in that context would do if they see the animal is exposed to, i.e. they're in a doghouse and there's no protection from the front of the house where the snow is blowing in. They can now just see this is not an adequate shelter. We need to go and intervene with the owner and tell them they need to make some improvements.
Well, today the House passed a bill continuing to allow tethering, but with longer and lighter tethers. Meanwhile, Virginia Beach State Senator Bill DeSteff has introduced a bill to make it a felony for anyone to abuse a family pet. Currently, a person would only be charged with a felony if the animal died as the result of the abuse. The bill has moved out of committee and soon could be up for a vote on the floor.